Viewer discretion is advised.
If we don't know what the treaty is, if we don't know what the whakaputanga is, and it's not taught, for me, that is a tool of colonization. She goes, why aren't you going to do it? And I was just like, nah, I'm not keen. She's just like, man, you complain about producers, why don't you just be one and see what's the go? And I went, oh yeah, true. So I did. We got the likes of those or Jason, and you got the likes of those or Dwayne, and they want so much for their people. But we've got to want it as well. Teachers should be some of the highest paid people in the world, bro. In the world. And if anything goes wrong, this is the face you come and look for. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, please don't anything go wrong.
Mandate.
Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Today's guest is Whanau Kimakuru Okilani, but originally born and raised in the beautiful east coast of Gizzy in Gisborne. He's an amazing talent, an amazing actor, and you'll recognise him from several TV films. You recognise him on Korero Mai, Shortland Street, and also he played on an All Black on a TV movie called The Kick. The man is also on a presenter as well. The man is also presented on TV's Marae Kai Masters, also the fashion show Open Freestyle, and also on feature films such as The Deadlands, and also Great White, just to name a few. And also the man just recently co-produced an amazing movie called The Convert. And so please put your hands together for one of Aotearoa New Zealand's finest actors, Te Kohe Tuhaka!
Tēnā rā tātou, o tira tēnā rā koutou tāne mā. E tiko ana ngā mihi ki a tātou ko tai mai runga te karanga o Mandate. Kāre tū atu I tā kua atu tainga mai ki kone, no kua no te maringa nui. I'm so pumped to be here, boys. Host.
Hey, you'll say, man, hey, listen, it is a real privilege. It's a privilege to have you on tonight, and we're honoured to have you. And so, brother, tell us, because I know you've been busy. I know just a few days ago, the premiere of The Convert, you've just been doing some producing now, co-producing. So tell us what's been up into the pipelines, and anything new that we can talk about and discuss around 2024. Tell us, man.
Yeah, so that's The Convert has just come out. So there was Lee Tamahori's third New Zealand film. So he did, obviously, Once Were Warriors, amazing. Mahana, based on a Witi Maira book, amazing. I was in that as well. And then we've got The Convert. So I worked alongside an amazing woman by the name of Robin Scholes, amazing old PALAGI woman. And she was my mentor. So this whole producing thing, to be honest, bro, like when I first got asked, I was like, nah, I'm good. But it came at a time, you know, when we just come out of lockdown. I was trying to figure out, I didn't know what the state of the industry was going to be like. And I just lost a massive gig because of lockdown. And I was kind of like, stuff this place. And then I was kind of like, oh, maybe I should do something else. And I didn't know what that something else was going to be. So I was contemplating moving my whole family to Australia, to just like going and just doing something really random in Australia. I couldn't do something really random here because too many people know who I am. So it would be weird. So I thought, I'll just move to another country. And that's what I really considered doing, taking me, my wife, and everyone would just move. And then, yeah, they headhunted me. Robin headhunted me. They came, we had a hui about it. They were like, oh, we're making this film. It's based on this. It's been a massive journey for them. And when I originally read the film for The Convert, there was nothing new in it. Then I went, oh, I haven't seen this before, anything like that. But I still was like, nah, not keen. And then I went home, and my beautiful wife, she goes, why aren't you going to do it? And I was just like, nah, I'm not keen. She's just like, man, you complain about producers, why don't you just be one and see what's the go? And I went, oh yeah, true. So I did. I said yes. I went into it, said yes. Was informed that I was going to be the producer that was going to take care of everything that had to do with Te Ao Māori. So The Convert is a film that is set 1830 during a period here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, where Māori outnumbered Pākehā 1,000 to 1. We were the landlords. And it's about the coming together of culture, two cultures, but also the human decisions they make. Regardless of the cultural content, it's about the human decisions they make. And so it was my job to go out and engage with local hapu, iwi around the locations we wanted to shoot, find Māori experts to partner them up with heads of department, to have my eyes and ears over the translations and the and all the music and the movement from a Māori world point of view, and then also put into place all of the cultural safety elements, because for someone much as myself, I grew up in a world that was very Māori. Like, grew up with the old people, everyone in my family could speak Māori, and this is, I just thought, when I was growing up, I was like, no, everybody must do this. When it rains over here, it must rain everywhere. Oh, that person speaks Māori, everybody speaks Māori. That's not the case, but that's what I thought. That's, I grew up in that world, and so I remember the day I said to the other producing team, I said, oh, look, you guys know I don't have reps in the bank when it comes to an actor. Yep, heaps of reps. Director, heaps of reps. But producing, never made anything. So I want to do this, but I want to do it my way. And they were brave enough to go, yep. And they supported me the whole way. So a lot of it, when I say my way, I mean I did it based on what I know as a person, as a Māori person. And I did it the way that most Māoris like to be engaged with, which is I had to let everybody know there's no point emailing that person or ringing them, because they're not going to answer their phone and they probably don't have any credit to check the email. So, and I just got in my car and I drove. Every meeting I had, it was always face to face. And and the norm is like, you go with your project and you go, oh, do I have an opportunity for you at Te Whanau? But I was like, nah, that's pretty eats. So I went with the project and I just put the project down as like similar to like a koha. And I went, this is what we are trying to make at Te Whanau. We would like to use this beautiful backdrop that is your lands that you live on. And we would like to have you help us make it. And I would just leave it. And then I would also say, no is good. If you say no to us, that's all good. That's so good. And that's all I'll say. And I say, and this is because the Māoris like hearing this thing. And if anything goes wrong, this is the face you come and look for. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, please don't anything go wrong. And then I did that every step of the way, And for people who have been producers for a long time, most of them went, wow, it was a new way of doing it. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, and I've been on projects where none of this has happened. You just show up, and it's like, oh, you're opening up massive cultural cans of worms here. There's no safety here. You're asking me to do all this dark ass shit, and you're not gonna at least give me the opportunity to at least have some water to cleanse myself once I've done it. Like all of these little things that I know because it's part of my upbringing, but these people just treat like, oh, it's just the job, say the words, shoot it, all of these things. And I refuse to have it like that, anything like that. I was just like, no way. If we want this to be truly an authentic Māori film that tells Māori themes and talks to Māori stories, then from this point moving forward, everything has to be done in a Māori way. And so, yeah, we've had our premiere, which went amazing. Prior to the premiere, we watched it, we screened it in Toronto. The second time I've been to the Toronto Festival. The first time I had been there was with the Deadlands, and to go again, but this time as a producer, was pretty special. One of the things that I can say about The Convert is this is the film that all other Māori films wanted to be. This is the film that all other Māori films wanted to be. Because we paid so much attention to the Māori way of things, that process innately elevated all the Māori aspects in the film. So everything from the martial arts style to the costume design to the songs that are being sung to the nuances of the performances. Everything was held in a very Māori way with so much support. And yeah, it's a beautiful film. It's a beautiful film. A beautiful film.
So you say it's like the original, the intricacies of tangata whenua, the actual culture and all that stuff.
Yeah, because like I love the Deadlands, don't get me wrong. I love it. And I love the TV series. But there were at some points and it felt hollow because time was never given, space was never given, but also the responsibility of elevating what it is that they wanted to see on screen, that was never given. So when I say elevation, I mean like the language is a perfect example, right? I've been on pretty much most Māori cultural films or TV shows, and for the first time that I know of, when we were doing The Convert, I organised a language workshop for the cast and the crew. So a wānanga reo that spoke to the script, that spoke to the rituals that were in the script, and it wasn't just for the actors. It was for the Māori actors. It was for the Māori actors, for the actors who were playing the Pākehā characters, for the crew, for everyone. And I said, the reason why we need to have this, and I fought for it so hard, I was just like, we've got to have this. Mm-hmm. And they were like, why? And I said, because this is where you allow your people who are making this to really understand and tune their ears in to the environments they're going to shoot in, to the people they're going to work with, and to help lift the story off the page. And they're like, oh. And I said, these, and like from an actor's perspective, I'm like, these were all the things I wish I got when I was doing these things. And now I'm giving them to other people and I feel like I'm not getting it now.
Because was there ever a time of, like, during the process of TK, because you're talking about elevation and that everything's just on point, you feel like, man, God, you feel like, man, I wish I was casted in this film, man. I need to be in this film.
I'm going to be really honest, I was cast in the film. So I was one of the leads in the film, right? And I was super excited about it. And I was just like, cool. But I knew in the back of my mind that I would never be able to go because I had also been cast in Chief of War. And so Chief of War, Apple Plus, the big guy, Jason Momoa, play his brother. This is literally the biggest project I've ever been involved with. Like, you take anything we do here and you can times it by 100. It's epic, like epic. And he's epic and he's amazing. But so I was, for The Convert, I knew that. So I still gave myself a role. Producer. I was like, man, I'm still going to be in this. But a lot of my creation for my role, when the boys get to see it, it was more to help forward, push the storyline, move it forward. Because during the 1830s, before the signing of the treaty, and I think this is something that's really important, we neglect or we are ignorant as a country, and Māori, Pākehā, Tangata Pasifika, all of us, everyone who lives here, we are ignorant or we are purposely don't care about the life and the existence of Aotearoa before the signing of the treaty. And I say that because you can't have partnership without relationship. It wasn't until the Crown arrived that everything started getting messed up. And so we here have history and of already established trade routes to the rest of the world. Already established relationships with early settlers, worked in partnership where those early settlers and those early traders, I'm not making it sound like, oh, good Pākehā, good. But they were willing to be led. Now, this is one of the things that really irks me, is the fact that we have a government that has a bunch of leaders in it that aren't willing to be led. aren't willing to humble themselves and just shut the hell up and just know that, no, you do not know. You do not know. And damn, man, David Seymour, mate. Oh, sorry. Anyway, that's another thing. But during this period, it's like the simplest way to do it is like, if I came to your house, I wouldn't start telling you how to make your dinner or start telling you, hey, when you sit on the couch, you need to sit on the left cheek only, okay?
And pull your legs.
Yeah, and the right cheek, don't let it talk at all, okay? We don't speak right cheek in this house. So like, and the frustration for me from a Māori perspective is, what are they scared of? Why are they so afraid of being led? Because that document, the whakaputanga, then you've got the treaty, the document of sovereignty that was never ceded, is a document that everyone agreed to because it allowed Māori leaders to lead everybody in a space where everybody succeeded. Everybody was going to be successful. So there's a lot of scaremongering going on, and what the convert does is it speaks to the human decisions you make in a time where you are unsure about where your footing is. It's not although it's Māori and Pākehā culture, at the heart of it, it's just the human decisions we make, regardless of the fact that it's here. You see these characters have to make a decision around their own humanity and how it's going to affect everybody else. So, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man, that was... We've got Duncan Gunner. It was 3 hours, but it might be 4.
Man.
Well, what do you think that is, TK? What do you think? Because you brought up a good point. These leaders, obviously the new government, and obviously you do want to lead, but also why do you think that that's the case in terms of these new leaders, of the leadership as to why do they want to be led?
Like I listened to your guys when it was just the boys, and I remember
We did a putty job. Sorry. Sorry. I just want to apologize on behalf of all Tangata Pacifica.
no, but
We released it.
But I really enjoyed it because I was just like, wow, like it was a prime example of knowing that our history needs to be taught in schools. It's a prime example. Like, if we don't know what the treaty is, if we don't know what the whakaputanga is, if we don't know what happened before all of these things, like, and it's not taught, that is, for me, that is a tool of colonization. That is an old school thing that's still happening because everyone talks about, the state of education. Everyone talks about the state of poverty. And all of those things are just a continued ripple effect of colonization. That's all they are. That's all they are. I feel people, New Zealanders, who have some connection to their ancestors who came here and like came here for good reasons. Like, the other thing people need to remember is even early settlers were promised, New Zealand. They were sold the dream. And then they arrived here and it wasn't like the postcard that they were given. And so that in itself puts them on the back foot, right? But they arrive, they've come here with a whole lot of history of colonization, because most of them were either Irish or Scottish, so all their countries were already taken over by the British. So it almost it almost creates this like chip on your shoulder. I'm never going to go through that again. I'm here now. I'm so bloody far away. So for me, those early contact times with Maori prior to the signing of the treaty were genuine relationships. Like, Maori are we're massive on manaki. Like, we'll open our homes to you, we'll bloody feed you, all of these things. But I think with the state of everything at the moment, what is missing is a genuine connection by the government and by the Crown to acknowledge the atrocities that have happened. And not acknowledge it by just getting one person up to say, I'm sorry. acknowledging it by going through the healing process from the Māori perspective. Because we deal with, we heal and we go through that healing process way different. Like, it's not about me sitting in front of someone listening to them spout on about how, oh, we're really sorry that we had an establishment that was, you know, electrocuting young boys and now we have a gang problem. I don't want to hear that. I want you and all the people that you were involved with, even though it wasn't you, to come down to a Māori level and we sit, and it takes however long it takes for all of us to heal. And, you know, the Māori way of tangihanga is a perfect example of healing. You know, you celebrate and you cry properly, man, cry proper, let it all out, you know, and then you laugh and then you just, you know, don't be afraid of your emotions. But that's what I think is one of the genuine kind of roadblocks. It's just like, man, you know, it may not have been you, but you're sitting in the seat of the people that did it, you know? And so if it's just that real, the difference between having someone stand on top of your shoulders and you have to carry them around, where they should be standing shoulder to shoulder. We all should stand shoulder to shoulder, you know? And I think about like the Dawn Raids and all of these things. All of these things are just history repeating themselves due to colonization. Yeah. And we're back at another level of it now. We're just back at another level of it now. So for me, the convert helps to awaken the human energy in all of us to get people thinking about, what actually did happen before the treaty? Yeah,
awesome, man.
Some amazing stories, bro. I know some
awesome.
amazing stories around, like settlers arriving, married, like with ease arrive. They were teachers, and then Māori communities brought them in. They shared the language, they shared education, they shared technologies, and then kids married each other, and like, this is beautiful. That's like beautiful. But the moment the Crown could see an opportunity to make some money, boom, all of that, then everyone becomes really like, oh, have I done something wrong? So one of the things I know is the two great colonizers, colonizing tools. The first one, time, Gregorian time, because Māoris never ran on the Gregorian time. That's like the clock, 24-hour clock, and religion. Oh, we tried to bomb them and it didn't work. Well, let's love them with this book and lull them in. The biggest turning point for a lot of us was when Pākehā missionaries did not die when they went to Wāhi Tapu, because that's their sense of belief in their gods. They said, no, my God will keep me alive. Soon as Māoris noticed that they didn't die, their gods must be better than ours. Because Māori belief in tapu was so extreme that we would die. So extreme. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a historian. I could be just making all this up, guys. Jay writing notes.
Just like that episode you were watching of us.
I loved it. But yeah, that's the thing that jumped out at me. I went, man, our history, and not just the treaty, like our histories.
Yeah.
You know, from both sides. Even like the early Dutch settlers that came here before the English, you know, all of that. The trader, whalers, traders, all of that. That history needs to be taught in schools.
Jeez.
Needs to be taught in schools. Yeah, it needs to be taught in schools.
That's amazing, because you're right. People before the treaty, you know, everyone just thinks of the Crown and tangata whenua, and no one talks about, what happened before that? How was they living back in those days before the whole treaty came about? And you saying that it was just harmonious. There's harmony, people, relationships, people loving on each other. There's no like, white skin, brown skin, whatever. People were just one, Aotearoa, just one. Yep. And it's a shame that that's not even taught or not even spoken about or even talked about in this day and age.
Yeah.
But I love what you said, because I think people, like, in terms of apologising to tangata whenua and the reconciliation and restoration. And people always think of logic. It has to be logic and it has to be about the conscious ability to just sit down and talk. But it's more than that because our people, in terms of the wairoa,
Yeah.
quite spiritual.
Because it's passed
emotions.
on, I
Yeah.
100% believe that. Like, intergenerational trauma is passed on. It's passed on. Like, prior to our first and second world wars, right? Because there was a whole raft of communities, young Maori men who just wanted to see the world, lied about their age, went to war, and then they went through all those atrocities, and like whole generations of families wiped out. But one of the things that most people forget is in the First World War for Maori, they were never allowed to carry weapons. They were there at the front line just to dig ditches. They were there to dig ditches. Not allowed to carry a weapon. Not allowed to carry. It wasn't until the Second World Wars and all of that, and then the trench warfare thing came in, and so there's trauma there, right? And coming back when you're being promised to have the same rights as everybody or everybody else when you return, having them return and their land's gone, been given to the Pākehā whāma who now owns their lands after being told, when you serve and when you come back, your lands will be here. We'll put them in this little trust thing over here, but they'll be yours. Coming back, bam. And then that's when, you can have that real crappy piece of land over there that you can't do anything with. So you look at all of the Māori land, like they call it Māori land, right? The majority of the Māori land is not even connected to anything to do with council's water. Like, because they're not allowed it. There's all of these old school hooks and all of these things in our councils and our governments that pretty much stop Māori from thriving. And they've been around for a long time. Just people just don't know. And like, there's huge histories of these things. Like, acres and acres of land gone. Because when they came back, all the rich white farmers got all their cows on it now. Yeah, forests just devastated. Come back, got cows and fence. And now, what do? Then that's when alcohol kicks in. That's when the abuse kicks in. That's when the family unit is broken because everyone's moved away and like they don't know if they can stay on the whenua, and then you still got small pockets. So it's just like a mess, like an absolute mess, and that just keeps churning away. Just keeps each generation a little bit, and the trauma that is passed down. You don't know which part of the trauma is being passed down to you, You have no idea. You're like, for me, like, my grandfather served in the Second World War and the First World War. And I sometimes I will wake up some days and I will just feel real dark. And because of the way I was brought up with my grandparents, I'll be like, I would have these memories of things that I know I was never there. I'm like, but it would just like, I would be so dark. And I'm a person I enjoy talking. I'm not big on being quiet. I love talking. And I would talk to my mum and be like, man, I had this crazy dream and I just feel in a real foul mood right now. And my mum would just be like, you just be with that right now. It's something someone's given you. You've been given that. And I'm like, great. Supposed to go to rugby training soon. Oh, well, it looks like someone's going to lose their head today. So it's all connected. And these are just my beliefs. This is what my belief system is built on.
Yeah.
This is what my belief system is built on. It's just built on intergenerational trauma is passed down from generation to generation. Yeah.
So when you have like a current ignorant person that looks at the current state of Māori having the highest stats, all these ram raids, all these our prisons are filled with, Māori men, and they go, it starts at home.
Yeah. I believe that, 100%.
But they don't realise
Yeah, it's come down. It's come down. It's come down. Like the atrocities of war. Then you move into the displacement of Māori during urbanization. Then you move into the ball stalls. Then you move into the psych units. Then you move into the creation of the gangs. Then you move into the introduction of heavy drugs. Then you move into oranga tamariki. Then you move into the disestablishment of it. That's the line.
Yeah,
that's the line. And at every step of the way, the time is not given. So I talked about when I was producing, right, the engagement process with iwi. I was very conscious of giving them time because in our industry, nobody actually knows what we do. Like, if you're not in the industry, bro, you don't have no bloody idea. And that's why when people say, man, I could do your job. Oh, yeah, really? The time, I am conscious of time because people, and especially tātou te Māori, we need time to absorb what it is that's just been asked of us so that we can look at it from all angles and think about it, because we know that the decision that we're going to make on this doesn't just affect me as a person. It affects everybody who's connected to this whenua. And then if the wairua of the connection is just a little bit off, that opens the door for anything else bad to come in. So I was very conscious, and I fought for them to have as much time as they needed to make any decisions. So when you look at that line of what we just talked about, one thing that's missing from it is time. The disestablishment of anything to do with any kaupapa Māori thing, it's because it's taking too long. It's taking too long. Yeah. How long we have a government? 3 years. What are you going to do? It's taken this 100 days, bro. And I'm like, you got 100 days, and then before we know it, we're going to be electing another government. And then all the good work that the Labour did in their 2 terms, and this is like, some of it was cack, but some of it was really good. Those establishments of those Māori led and run things, they take time. And when you think of it, like, if you don't give them the same amount of respect and time that the original Pākehā system has had all of these hundreds of years, what do you expect? It's not like red pill, blue pill, is it? So time is a commodity that I feel like people just don't respect. And especially in decision making, right? You got to respect the amount of time, and you just got to be brutal and go, and listen to the thing that makes you go, oh man, this is going to take ages. And go, do you know what? It's going to take ages. But if I give it the time, I'll at least have a clearer understanding on whether we can move forward together or whether I've got to find something else. So that's all I say. I'm just like, things aren't given the time. And like genuine time. Like, we'll not go, oh yeah, so Jilly, got 2 hours to do a test. Like, you think about everything that we've done growing up, it's all time based. 2 hours to do this test. Oh my God, anxiety. Rather than going, just do the test. When you're done, you're done. All right? All good. And no pressure, but we live in a world where time and time pressures are existing. Got to get up 9. What time am I going to be? Like, just before I come on here, I got my koshi because I'm shooting down in Rotorua. I was like, it's going to take me a minute to get there tonight. It's like the biggest colonizer, time. Time. And who controls time? We work for somebody. They control your time. You got to shoot this in a certain amount of time. You got to be here in a certain amount of time. So our relationship, I think, with time needs to change. Not like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to work for you today.
I was thinking that right now. Oh, yeah, that's right, man.
You know what? I'm on holiday.
I'm like, Han, stay away from me.
I'm going to be where I'm going to be when I'm at where I'm at.
Are you hungry? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You're taking up my time.
I'm going to ring up my boss. You know what TK said? TK told me.
Send your inquiries to him. He gave me the day off. I got to walk in and see him. Hey, Mr. Time. Hey, yeah, you messed up my kids now. I had them on a good routine and now they listen to your podcast and Now they want to do their own thing.
Man.
So, and like, there's healthy ways of, there's a healthy way of dealing with time. There is a healthy way of dealing with time where you don't feel like, because there's pressures, all that pressure does is it messes everything else up. I know for myself, when I put myself under too much time pressure, I become a shit dad, I become a shit husband, I become a shit friend. I just become shit, bro. I just get absolute shit. And then, like, I know I'm doing it, and I'm telling me, man, you're being real shit. And you know what I do? I just keep doing it. Don't have time for that. Don't have time to be listening to that. I gotta get it done. Gotta go. Until I pop. Like, and I literally will have moments where I'll pop. And I'll go sit down on my kid's tramp. Like, oh my God. And I will just like, and my wife will know, and the kids know. Like before I came here, I popped because of all of the stuff that I'm having to do, right? I'm having to do, and I have to do it. It's just this, but my time management of it could have been better. And so I just think with all the big decisions that need to be made around the state of our country and all of our people, not just Māori, because it's not like, this is the thing that irks me too. Oh, what, they're going to start taking everything that they lost of us? Well, we're not going to, it's not about taking back what you lost. It's just like allowing us to have the conversations to lead you in a better way so that we can share the things that you took from us. We want to be able to come to the table to share those things and to allow you to understand that no, you can't build your $7 million mansion on a wāhi tapu because there's actual bones there. There's actual things there that can't be done. So, and these things aren't like we're trying to hammer them home or anything. It's for me, and again, it could be, and it's definitely the fact that I'm raised very different. It's just really feels really black and white in my mind. Like, no. You can keep your Westfield Mall on our whenua, but we would just maybe, if you're going to have an event here, allow us the hapu to come and do the karakia for the event. If there's an opportunity for some of the money that you make to help feed or to help establish something for our youth and amongst here, maybe, the real simple, it's about capacity building, right? Because we're in a state now where to take everything, to do it the way they think they're going to do it, would just ruin everything. It would be way back in the dark age, just be like, oh, here's your pants that I bought last week, and I got the old skirt that I had. It's not about that. It's about going, let's just go, cool, that happened, cool, sweet as, this is on there, sweet. But in partnership, can we help to build the capacity for our people who live in the area, or to help keep the cultural safety of these grounds just by inviting us. Ngāti Whātua o Ōrākei are amazing at doing these things. But it's the unknown, it's the cultural unknowns that everyone goes, and I see it all the time where you see palagis go to these pōhere and stuff like that, and the awkwardness, and I'm like, I'll be standing next to some of them and I'll be like, hey, it's okay, you're not going to catch fire. Because they don't want to offend, because there's been so much offense over the years, in our history, so much offense. And I'm like, hey, don't worry, you weren't there, it wasn't you, okay? Just be here, enjoy the process. I'm telling you, the food afterwards gonna be amazing.
Jeez, man,
there's so much in what you've just shared, and probably all of us got so many questions, but before Jay, I know Jay probably wanting to pop up, but while it's on top of my head, like reimagining a society that allowed Māori to lead, what would that look like for you?
It would look like this. This is like, for me, the base nature of just hanging. That's what it looks like. Like the ability to be able to hang, like, and not feel like you have to censor who you are, and not feel like you have to pander to anybody or not worry about, is that fella going to go away and cry because I mocked the hell out of him, and that for me, that's what it looks like. It's so, in my mind, it looks so simple, and it is a throwback to how I grew up. How I grew up. Like, if you had something and somebody else needed something, you just gave it to them, except if it's my old man's lawnmower. And the man was like, don't ever give my lawnmower to, you know who I'm talking about, okay? My lawnmower come back, was full with gas and now it's empty. But, it's just, again, I think about it, it's the simplicity of a relationship, like building a relationship. Because you'll get to the partnership if the relationship is strong. But if you force the partnership first, like if you're going into the relationship with I can get something out of this, so then you're doomed to fail, man. You're set up to fail. But if you're transparent around the relationship, like, oh man, and allowing ourselves to genuinely get to know one another, then I think moving forward is really, really easy. And I know, like, with the media and stuff, they got to do it. They got a job, and they got to put it out there, and they put their spins on everything. And some of it, I just go, oh my gosh, that is so fear bots. It's not funny. And some of it, I go, well, actually, there's so much truth in it. But again, if you don't, it's not like you lean on your fence to talk to your Pākehā neighbour and go, hey, did you watch the thing on the news tonight? How do you feel about it? You don't do that. You just you just go, I've got a really good relationship with my neighbour, or I've got a terrible relationship with my neighbour. But it's black and white, right? It's either really good or it's really bad. But you're still respectful. You don't want to try and like, we just don't jailboat, but that's all good. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, all good. We're not trying to step on anybody's toes. I'm not trying to steal your car or anything like this. You do you, I do me, and we'll still move in the same direction together. But when you start questioning people around, when you can feel that thing when someone's like, this is me when I'm trying to figure out whether my wairua is good with peeps. Mm-hmm. And I'm big on wairua, right? I'm massive on wairua. And if I can't see you when I'm looking at you, and I mean in the muckas, like real, if I'm sitting, then I instantly I can't feel myself be vulnerable with you, be vulnerable with you. And vulnerability is the thing that solidifies relationships, and it's in those vulnerabilities that we all learn about each other, and then one day we'll be like, hey, I got this idea. You were thinking about it the other day, really? And then bam, partnership. So it's about the basic necessities around all the things that are so like, what's that thing there? Like everyone says like mental health and bloody, taitu te tiriti and all of these things. And I'm just like, wow, just sit and shush and just be in each other's company. So that's why I say this is the perfect example, because it's really, really rare and really, really hard to just be in somebody's presence in their company. You know what I mean? And not feel like I've got to be anywhere. This is a healthy relationship with time, I would say. This whole mandate, this whole allowing space, and being supportive, and just like not being like any pressure on it. So I think that's a healthy relationship with time that allows a healthy relationship to show vulnerability to create partnership.
Vote mandate for your next government.
I think you made
TK is our party leader.
You made Mr. calling TK for mayor. TK for mayor.
So I'll be out West Auckland now.
Man, there is, like you said, there's so much there that you could go off on and tangents on. And I was like inside me laughing when you mentioned time, and in particular like tests, because I've always believed that, time tests are not testing your skill or ability. They're testing your memorization. Like, it's literally, what can you remember, as opposed to what can you showcase or what have you learned.
Yeah.
So agree 100% on that. And it just sort of made me think about how there's something there when you're talking about intergenerational trauma and time. And I think about the way that we perceive time in the modern day, and, you know, things like, you know, we're in our prime, or, you know, FOMO is such a big thing these days with social media. Like, there's this fear of missing out. And so time becomes less about, you know, what am I giving to my kids, and how are they growing up, and how am I acknowledging what's come before, to what can I do in my lifetime right now? And I think that's, you know, we see parts of that in, you know, things like government, where it's like, what can we do in our lifetime, as opposed to what are we gaining or building now that we can pass on. And, you know, like, and I feel like I go back to this often, but thinking about Efeso and, you know, him talking about leadership as a means of, like, you know, knowing when to step aside and let the next, you know, to be led by the next generation. And I think there's a lot of that missing. And I think that's part of why he stood out so much, because that perception of time, of stepping aside, is so different to how we see our leaders these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all want to stand at the front of the line, and like they want to, like the whole like voting system is built so that not only just Maori, but like if you're brown, it's not for you. It's built so that it's hard for you to want to actually just even get out and vote. So I feel like in these last, at least over the last 6 years, a lot of people, a lot of politicians, and I'm like, the MTI Party is a great example of flipping the script and just like being so like in your face about it, like going, it's not made for us. It was never made for us. It was never made for us. It was never made for anyone to get ahead. If you're brown, you're not going to get ahead. This is the system is not made for us. And as much as people want to go, oh well, you know, that's your decision and all of those things, the reality is, like, even for me, when I first started voting, it was so hard. It took so long. I was like, oh my gosh. I was asked a few years ago by I went to the Labour Party Young Politicians thing, and I didn't even know why I was there. Oh, I do know I was there because when I was at Toi, I used to coach young politicians on how to deal with a camera. Like, you run acting things for them in Wellington, put them in situations, teach them how to introduce themselves and how to hold and where to look, the stillness in the eyes, all these things. They were useless. Sorry. I've just come home from Gisborne and this is how we roll.
With the Pakia, with
And anyway, and so I was asked, Te Kohe, what do you think? How do we engage the youth into voting? And I said, you can't, bro. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? And I said, well, then you're not giving them anything. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, you're not giving them anything? Like, kids today, they're only going to do it if they're going to get something out of it. And they were like, oh. I said, yeah, here's an example. If you put on social media that if you go down to the voting booth today, you get a free Federation t-shirt, I bet you the line of young people just wanting a t-shirt, Federation t-shirt, would be huge. But you can't do that because then, you know, you're trying to buy votes and all of those things. But that's the reality. Why should I go and vote? I don't get anything out of it. And also, when you do vote, it takes so long and you don't even know if your fellas are doing anything. Like, everyone talks about the first 100 days, but what have you done for me lately? Because we live in a world, for those of us who are not politicians, for those of us who do not live above the breadline, for those of us who work in like low socio-economic jobs and all of this, we don't give a damn about that because it's about clocking in, feeding my family, and it's about what I can get now. I need this now. I need this now because if I don't get this now, my power could get cut off. My car's going to break down. All of these things that our voting system does not deliver fast enough. And I could be wrong in saying this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I do not believe that the governments don't have the power to make things happen like that. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. Because if they want it bad enough, and if the people want it bad enough, you should just give it to them. You should just give it to them. You know, GST or food. Of course you can make it happen like that. It's just everybody all the lobbyists, it's all the money people who go, no, we'll just drag this out. Well, inflation's really good for us at the moment. So I could go get myself into trouble, but I don't care. Because I feel like in a country where we grow some of the best food, we get the worst of it. Like straight up. I'll tell you a funny story. Drama school. Never lived away from home. And so lived on a farm. And so pack and save was like literally open the freezer, food. And like go outside, garden, food. I remember going to the pack and save in Kilburnie for the first time, and I had to do my shop. And I was like looking at the meat, and this is like in 2001, and I was like, what the hell? And then I would always get the steaks there, and they flip it up and go, man, that's like paper thin. And so what I did was I rang my mum. I said, Mom, man, food's really expensive. I didn't realize that people have to pay this much money. Like, I didn't realize how good I got it. And my mum, bless her, gave me this chest freezer, filled it with meat, drove it all the way to my flat, put it in my flat. And I fed everyone. I just fed everyone, and she would just fill it up. She would just fill it up, bring meat from home, fill it up. So, again, I feel like I've grown, I've had a real mean upbringing, a real amazing upbringing, where when there was need, it just, like, instant. So I don't understand why, when there's so much need now, why it can't be an instant fix. Why can't it be an instant fix? We pay enough taxes, why can't it be an instant fix? So anyway.
So much red tape. It seems like so much red tape, so much, like you're saying, if you're not that 1%, then you're not going to, it doesn't trickle down to everyone else.
Well, that's again, and it forces us to have a relationship with time that we don't want. That's all it does, is it forces us to have this crazy relationship with time. Because, you know, being under those time pressures, and I'm going on about it, but it causes everything else to, be shaky. Oh, man, hurry up, your kids, I've got to get used to school, man, I've got to get to work. Or automatic, like even saying that, everything's going, I'm just like, man, I'm going to drive you all the way to West, man, I live over here. Oh, like, every day, some days my relationship with time is amazing. And I go, oh man, and on those days, I'm really make sure that I go, oh cool, man, one of those days, I'm going to hang out with my kids. I'm just going to hang out with my kids. I'm going to hang out with my wife. I'm going to hang out with my wife while I'm on my chat page to my boys. Delivering the mocks. Let's go. Let's go, Beulah. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was, can we get back to, like, because you had a beautiful concept in terms of if Pākehā, just, because I can imagine some of our Pākehā brothers and sisters will be like, oh my gosh, that guilt, it was my ancestors, what they're going to take this land, whatever, or what they're going to want reparation, all that kind of stuff. But I love what you said. You said it's not about reparations, it's not about getting all that land back. It's about having the conversation, but acknowledging what has happened in the past, and just having the conversation, but also be working together to move forward together.
Yeah,
and getting the land back.
Yeah, and getting that nice piece of land next to it. Yeah, because for some, in many instances, like, it's too late to even to fathom that, right? It's too late to even fathom that, but it's never too late to acknowledge it and come together on it.
Yeah, like, for sure. But
we live in also a crazy time, and where it's like, mine, this is mine. I worked really hard for this, and this is mine. Well, you didn't actually work hard for it; it was given to you. So, yeah, that's just, in my mind, I'm just like, bro, we just sit and just acknowledge, like, you know how people just don't like being told that they did something really, really bad? That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like, and I suppose for us growing up, used to get told all the time what the bad things we did. Like, we're talking about this again, are we? Te kohe? hey, Mr. Tuhaka. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Peace and tell my mom. But I feel like there's so much fear. That's where the fear exists about. And even though it wasn't that actual person who's on that funeral or it's in that position at the moment, the response is like, well, I didn't do it. And I was like, it's not about the fact that you didn't do it, but you're connected to the people who did it, you know? And so people just don't like hearing the fact that they messed up. Yeah. And even for us as Māori, and we're not squeaky clean. Like, we did some mean mess-ups, but at least we're prepared to go, okay, I messed up. I messed up. And that's not all of us. I'm not gonna put everybody in their basket. You know? Like, we all, again, and it's about the human, all of our human natures, right? Regardless of your culture, a lot of the decisions you make are based on human things, like what, like food. I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. That's a human thing. You know, falling in love, that's a very human thing. Being angry, that's a human thing. That's not just an angry Māori thing or a loving Māori or a hungry Māori. That's just a human thing. But everybody's so quick to dress it up, right? Because of the way it can sometimes come out, you know. Us as Māori, Polynesians, like everyone, the prime example was the current Hurricanes Paua women's squad who got up and did that haka. Haka is exactly what Rawiri Waititi says. It's a form of expression. There are no rules in what is said in haka because it's about expressing where you stand and what you do and what you're standing for, you know. The whole sense of it being dragged around borderline racist thing, well, the comments, you know, that's what haka is about. It's about inciting thought. You know, if people go, oh, it's about intimidation. I say, it's actually not about intimidation because there are like 11 different styles of haka. So there is a style of haka that's for intimidation, but what they did is not about intimidation. It's about delivering a message. So, you know, that's all I think about those types of things. But again, I go back to the fact that I've had a mean upbringing. Yeah, I grew up in a very different way that's very, I always say like this, small town values fixing big city problems. That's how I look at my life. I've got all these small town values that have built me up and I can easily lean on them and look at them to fix big city problems. Like my mates that didn't grow up in small towns, I go, bro, you know what? I know something that you can do that will help you with that. And it's real easy, bro. It's real easy. Oh, what is it? When you go into your girlfriend's house, just make sure your parents are not on the wall, okay?
They're lying, TK. Just put the picture. Just put the picture down. Turn it around.
Also, while we're on that, are you able to share about your childhood upbringing? Because for you, it was the norm.
Yeah.
But when you moved out, it was like, oh shucks, it was not.
Yeah,
like
bro. Like I grew up on I had a really gypsy life, right? So I spent the early formative years of my birth. I was born here, Green Lane Hospital. My mum was a nurse here. I was taken back to my grandfather, and formative years during this period. It wasn't whangai, so whangai is Māori style. I hate the word adoption, but it's not that. But anyway, it wasn't whangai. It was just the norm. So when you're the eldest of a generation, you get passed down to your grandparents and you learn language and the cultural nuances that relate to you from your iwi, right? So that happened. Mum was working at the time. She met my sister's father and all of this. But it was about allowing them the space to be able to build a life while I get given a life. And then we reunited, and it's exactly how it happened. So I grew up on a farm. I grew up with old people, and like, it's funny when I say it out loud. Like everywhere I went, everyone spoke Māori. Like everyone spoke Māori. It was just like, okay, and that was like normal. And the only English we heard that I remember hearing as a kid, what came from the television, We had this real old school TV, bro, where you could put the remote inside the TV. Put the remote inside the TV. As a NEC was it NEC? And bro, it was like 14-inch like this. And this is during the period where like the All Blacks played on TV and all of that. But so I would watch the TV and not have a damn clue what was being said. But it was TV that taught me conversational English. Watch the things like the Brady Bunch and all of that. Yeah. This is the story. This is the story. And so all of that. But I hung out with all my cousins, my aunties, everyone worked. Like everybody had a job. I'm milking cows, all of these things. So I grew up in the period where everybody knew everyone. Like everybody, you could stay at anybody's house. When we were growing up, like one side of the street, everybody lived on that side of the street. So you could bounce from house to house, and like everyone rode bikes everywhere. And like you'd stay up really late, everyone played sport. It was just like massive community. Like in essence, we had our own little pa. Like pa, it was like real pa life. And that was right up to like, I would say 11, 12, I lived that life. And my mum, my mom's one of those Māori ladies who just knows everyone, like knows everyone. Like as a kid, I remember we'd be walking down the street, main drag in Gisborne. She'd be like, "Hey, go and say hello to your auntie." And I'd be like, "I never met that woman in my life." And then she'll be from across the street. "Oh yes, this is my son." And I'm like, "Auntie?" Yes. "Oh, hello." And I remember, and I was like, "Damn, lady, I don't know who the hell you are." And it used to happen to me all the time. And mum knew everybody. So we'd go to hui. Like I lived a very hui hopping life. My grandfather would go to this hui, go to this hui, go to this marae, go to this marae, go to this tangi. And this is a time where traveling to other people's and other regions, tangi was the norm. And so I got to the age where I was able to drive. I learned how to drive. And I would drive my grandfather to these things. He was such, bro, my grandfather was the man. And this is my grandfather that I'm named after. His name was Kohe Ataro. Master carver, brilliant man, just an absolute genius, could play piano, organ, had amazing coin collection, all of these things, these stories from the war, and just a beautiful man. And so that was pretty much my upbringing. Like, and I met all my mates, and then, I was never really, I was not a good bookworm at school. Like, I love school. I'm like actuals love school. Like I would have to literally be dying before I wouldn't go to school because there was no stay home and be sick. And you're like, "Are you sick?" "Oh, yeah." "How sick are you?" Oh, no, I'm going to school. And like, I hated missing school. Like we talk about FOMO, like I hated missing school because I went to school with so many awesome people, and during a period where like literally everyone was your cousin. And so we were a little an anomaly, right? So I went to a bilingual primary school, and we sat university entrance te reo, the test, and we hadn't even got into high school yet. We were like Form 2 or something like that. And there was like 7 of us. And it was a 2.5 hour exam. And like we showed up on our little school bus, and we got out and walked into the hall, and everyone's sitting around. And then we're like, "Oh, wow." And like there was 2 sides to the exam. We had done the practical, which was you had to get up and do all of the whaikōrero and all of these, answer all these questions. And they had the written. We were all of us done in an hour. Like sitting there like this. "Hey, can I go now?" And the woman was like, "Are you finished?" I said, yeah, I finished ages ago. I just thought I've got to wait for everyone else to finish. And so we had this real unit, and then we all stayed together, and we went from there, and then we went into the first total immersion unit at Lytton High School in Gisborne, and we were there, and then we went from there into the first performing arts academy that the school established. They built the marae, and like I was raised in many ways through my formative years at school by some of Māoriddom's giants, like Ape Mahuika, who was a Māori lawyer, Ngoi Pewhairangi, one of the most prolific composers Aotearoa's ever seen. There was a Dalvania song, Ngoi Ngoi, which became a pop song, and she wrote it. It was her. And so all of these big, and my grandfather and stuff like that. And again, the whole time, I only spoke te reo. I only spoke te reo. And so my love for my language is real deep. And to this day, I only speak Māori to my kids. It's funny when I told my wife that. I said, hey, when we have a baby, I'm only speaking Māori to my son. And she was like, and I was like, what are you laughing for? I said, so you either learn or you're just going to know that we're talking about you.
Is she learning as well?
And she learned. She started learning. She started learning. And so I got 2 babies, and plus my big fella. And him and I, we are a work in progress. He can understand te reo, but he's a little bit ma about, speaking. But he lives with my babies. I got my 5-year-old, Remy. He's super, eclectic and he's just lazy when it comes to responding back to me in te reo. He knows he should, but he doesn't. But my baby, my 1-year-old, refuses to speak English.
Wow.
No. And for me, that's fixing trauma. That's eliminating the idea that my language has no value. And that's giving my sons options. That's telling them that your language will take you wherever you want in the world. And for me as a dad, that's me doing my job as a father. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's funny too because Beulah used to come over and I know his sons are Māori, so I only speak Māori to them. Wow. And he's like, silly. And so he's now started speaking Samoan to his kids. He goes, bro, it's because of you, Tix. I said, bro, if you've got the language, man, don't be greedy. Hand it over. Hand it over. If you can speak your language, no matter how much of it, hand it over. It's, our kids want it. They may not turn around and say that, but they want it. Because I can guarantee you when they get older, it's going to go bam. And they're going to be in a position where it's going to elevate them. It's going to elevate them. They're going to get that job because, they're going to get into that position because of, they're going to get that because they did that little mihi at the beginning of the, so that's what I say to most people. No matter how much of your language you know, hand it over to your kids, man. Hand it over. Don't be those guys or those girls or those people who go nearly on your bloody deathbed and you're like, haramai. I'm ready now. I'm ready. Tahi.
They'll be there.
Dad, hand it over. Just fucking hand it over, bro. Just hand it over. And even Māori experiences, I know so many Māori are so whakamā about the fact that they don't know their language. You know what I say? Shut the hell up, bro. If you don't know your language, don't use it as an excuse to not want to learn. And then there's the other people who go, I grew up Māori, but I don't know the language. And I say, that's awesome, because it's not just about the language, right? It's a way, being Māori is also how you operate, I know the best hunter-gatherer, the best fisherman, the person who runs the marae, and they don't speak a word of te reo Māori, but ain't nobody saying anything to them about that, because when it does come down to the fact that it's not the fact that they don't know the language, it's that they usually pick a time to use it. They're strategic about it, And I always tell people, because there's always this, and it always cracks me up. Oh yeah, man, when I was at school, man, I used to be fluent as a te reo. But I just, I don't know anymore. And I'm like, whoa, you're so lazy, bro. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, if you can do something once, then you can do it again. Awaken it. It's just about waking it up. If you could do it once, you could do it again. So just be brave and just wake it up. Find somebody to speak to. And so I always challenge everybody. And especially when I'm working on sets, right? Because there's lots of Māori actors who are learning te reo and all of this. And if I'm the producer, I always go like this. Mena e mohe ana koe ki te kōrero Māori, kōrero Māori. Aha koe e iti, aha koe e nui, aha koe te aha. Mena e mohe ana koe te kōrero Māori, kōrero Māori. Mena e mohe ana koe ki te kōrero Māori, ka kōrero Māori ki a koe. And I just tell them, if you know how to speak Māori, doesn't matter how much, just speak Māori. Use it. Practice it. It's a perfect example, perfect place to practice. If I know you can speak, I will only speak Māori to you. And you see the eyes. Like this, and I would say, hey, come close. Come on. And it's just about waking it up, you know. And and I do that to all the crew. Doesn't matter the name. And I say, just use the word, just one word. Just use it. Go have a touch. Touch it. I know you want to touch it. Oh, hands are cold. And that's when because it's just our languages. Like I was saying to Pete before, like when I grew up, because I got this running joke with the boys. So I go, man, I'm the most plastic Māori around. Because all my mates are hummels. All my closest mates are all hummels. And so I grew up in places, like I hung out at places like Ford Block in Rotorua with my mate Semu Valipo. I went to bloody Sava'i with Beulah. I've been to the Sivas down in Porirua on a Friday. I got up at the karaoke on a Saturday. And so I've spent a lot of time in Polynesian households. Tokelau and Tonga and bloody our neighbour was this amazing old Tongan guy, and his daughters used to have to run the spit on a Sunday like this, and they'd be dressed in them like this. And all of us, and like every alternate weekend we would share, like we would do hangi at our house and they would come over and have a feeding, and then the next Sunday we'll go to their house and we'd have pig on a spit. So like I've grown up around Polynesians all my life, but I was saying to Pete before, I said, I used to get super jealous because I'd be in Polynesian communities and it was so easy for you fellas to speak your language. And I would be like trying to find the one Māori who's like, who can't speak Māori. And I'm like, oh. And so that's why I loved being around in those households. Like I do it now, like when I go overseas, I'll sit on a park bench. I mean, when I was, first time I went to Paris, I sat on a park bench. And I just sat there and closed my eyes and listened to French people speak their language. And I was just like, wow. I love languages. I just love languages. I love people who love their language, but I love people who just love using their language. And like, I know all my mates are like, I can only speak a little. I don't care, man. Just speak your language. It's cool. Yeah, your language is cool. So that's why I know so much. Like I can sit in White Sunday and pretty much follow what's going on. Tauri Māori goes to White Sunday, not Tristan White. Yeah. So, but I also love the fact that, like for us as Māori, we can be very reverent around certain things, like, tapu, everything's tapu. But in Polynesian cultures, it's just a thing. It's like, cool, everything feels like it's going to be a party. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be mean. My mate's getting a slap. Okay, we're back here. He's going to the stream. Just keep going. So, but I try to encourage everyone to just use it, because languages are practical. And there is, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Anyway, when you can speak another language with your closest boys, the mock levels, they go up. Because it's probably a real brown thing, but like you'll get the one, you'll go to the one party or you go to the one event and you're all sitting around and you watch it, and then you get the one kind of non-speaking person who'll sit there and then you just start mocking them and they're like, yeah, kia ora. Yeah, kia ora. You're like, yeah, this guy. You gotta test the waters, So yeah, language is beautiful, but pretty much that was my upbringing, like steeped like with my mom, my grandparents, my sisters, everyone. We just all spoke te reo, and like all my mom's uncles, and the whole journey of Te Reo has been amazing to watch. To go from like barely seeing any Te Reo in film and television and projects like that, to then it increasing to then getting Māori TV, whakaata Māori, then moving into Māori films. Like over the last 50 years, the Māori film and television industry is the envy of all other indigenous nations.
True. Oh, yes.
So to put it in perspective, the reason why, one of the big reasons why they brought, Jason and his team brought Chief of War here to shoot here in Aotearoa, is because we have the infrastructure and we have the manpower and we have the reps over there. In Hawaii, it's just treated as a location, but they don't get the same tax breaks or anything like that. So it not only was it cheaper here, but they also used it as a whakapapa thing, because we as Māori acknowledge our migration that come from Hawaii, as one of the starting places for us to come to Aotearoa. And so they wanted to have a cultural connection with the people here because it made sense through a historical connection. So, yeah, so languages are super important. And I think languages can be, in many ways, the thing that helps to break down ignorance. So there are some areas and some pockets of people who go, no, can't speak, you're not allowed to learn my language. Yeah, Māori's only for Māoris. But I don't know what the stats are, but there are more non-Māori learning how to speak Māori than actual Māori. More non-Māori than actual Māori. The buzziest thing I experienced a few years ago was I was at the whanau o Aotearoa in Mangele, I think. Yeah. And I went into the library there. And you know they had Vogel's at? And they had an Asian guy who could speak Māori. I thought there was like a G up. I thought, man, we can't speak Māori. And he's the librarian at the whananga. Rocked on in and we had a full conversation all in Te Reo. And the whole time I was just like, holy, your language is mean, bro. Man, I'm not going to learn yours, but you learn mine. Yeah, and so there's more non-Māori learning Te Reo. And for me, I say it helps to break down ignorance, because if you can take the time, then we go back to the time thing, right? If you can take the time to learn somebody's language, then you're also allowing yourself the time to learn the nuance around the culture. Yeah. And then that intel stops you from being fearful, because you get it. Because it's the languages that allow you into people's lives. Because you've got to communicate, right? You've got to communicate.
So good.
Yeah.
And the non-Māori that I've seen take on that journey, the transformation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of them are a bit. What are you up to?
Nah, Māori's for Māori.
Kia ka. No, I shouldn't be like that. I'm gonna get a growling now. I shouldn't, but there are some people that you just go, whoa, you just took it a little bit too far.
Yeah, but the ones that do full immersion and that learn Te Ao Māori, because
it's those Fia Bots guys that go like, oh yeah, I've done this real course and got the level 7 and now I'm on Instagram as a tohunga. So come and do my 3-day retreat where we will stand together and be washed over by the waterfall at waitangi. There's I'm probably going to get cancelled for that, but I go back to the fact that I'm a plastic Māori because I hung on with hummels. It's the influence. So language is for me like one of my goals, and it's a definite goal, is to learn to speak Samoan. Wow! Because I just love I love Samoan people. Yeah, I really do. Like I really love Samoan people. There's something. Maybe it's me going, man, if only my people were like them.
You don't want to be like us. Empty pockets.
I know. I was like in tears when we went over to Upolu, because I couldn't. And I go back to what I said before. Like, religion is one of the biggest colonizers, and I'd never been to Samoa before, and we were going to our accommodation, and we're driving through all the villages, and I was like getting all excited, and then I started noticing. I was like, the separation between like the haves and the have-nots. Like, I was just like, said to Beulah, I said, "Oi, surely, bloody Hogwarts over here, but the shanty town over there, what the hell's going on?" And he went quiet, and I was just like, and I didn't realize that it was like every village was like that. I was like, and then when I got to meet some of the people in Upolu, and you could just feel this like weight. And I was just like, oh. And it lifted a little bit when we got to Savai'i, and we went up to stay with, I forget the name of the village, but we were staying with one of the chiefs of this village, Whau. And I was like, man, how do I, my instincts were like, how do I try to make this story? And we were talking to Beulah about it, like, how do I? And we were talking about the Mau movement, the Tamaseses, the car park, or the place there. Tamasese was shot, and now it's a car park, and it's outside the Malay government building, and all of these things. And like, I was just like, we gotta make these stories gotta make these stories, and they have to be in your guys' language. All of us gotta be in your guys' language. So we're on a bit of a mish at the moment. Like for me, stories about culture. Probably it's in my wheelhouse now, because I've made so many stories about Māori culture and my love and affinity for other people's cultures, and not from a pushy way, but like, I'm happy to sit in the back of the church and just be like washed over by the sounds of people singing. But then I question, like, when I used to get in trouble because it's like, oh man, what did you do before religion?
So true.
Tikesh. I was just like, oh, was it just like this all the time?
They were eating people.
Yeah. But those are the stories. Like, those are the stories. That's for me, that balances the sheet, right? That balances the sheet. If we see more of that, and we be able to tap into those stories, oh man, the kids will get a better understanding of their balance, because I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of Polynesian kids who have got some intergenerational trauma from that time when the oppression of paganism, or the way Samoa or Tonga or the islands were before the missionaries came, like that whole shutting down of those rituals. There's got to be some trauma. So I was going, well, the best way to balance that sheet out is to tell those stories. To go, oh, okay, I see that. I'm connected to them. I'm on their buzz. But yeah.
That's interesting, man. That's awesome.
It's me trying to create my own work with your fellas culture, ain't it?
That's so good, man.
Auditions next week, everyone.
I want to play the Whaithiau.
Yeah. I think I might play the lead. I think I might actually play the lead in this one.
I'm playing the lead for this one.
No.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It just makes me think of the conversation we had last night with Fale from Oriana Siva Academy, and we were talking about diversity, and she brought up a good point about like how cool is it to see ourselves reflected in all these different areas and telling the stories. And then it made us think, like, where do we draw the line in terms of diversity? Like, on the one end, it's good to see our people on the big screen telling, being part of these stories. And then on the other end, there has to be a line in terms of our stories being told by our people. And then we were talking about, like, if they were remaking Moana live action, would you be upset if they cast non-Polynesian actors in there? Even if they did a great job, would you still be upset that they didn't cast Polynesian actors to tell Polynesian stories?
Interesting. Okay, little insight on Chief of War. When I was originally approached to audition for it, I said, I'll do the audition. It's all good. I'm not going to get it. And I got it. And I was like, and so I initially was like, oh, no. And they were like, why not? Speaking to my agent. I was like, just get a Hawaiian to play a Hawaiian. And for a long time, that was like that. And then I ended up having a sit-down meeting with Jason. And this is, again, me not understanding where the industry is from a Hawaiian's perspective, right? And so he sat with me and he said, yeah, I could easily cast a Hawaiian, easily. But they don't have drama schools. All the big international kind of Hawaiian actors don't live on the island. And we need somebody who knows how to act. And so I went, oh, okay. Then I became more driven to be able to do things that most actors wouldn't do, which was for Chief of War, the first 3 episodes are in Hawaiian. And so my initial meetings changed altogether. My view on it changed altogether. I then became the actor playing a Hawaiian who was adamant that I want to put myself in a position where I don't have to play a Hawaiian. And so what can I do as a practitioner here in Aotearoa? I can help build capacity. So I took it upon myself to share as much knowledge as I knew with the locals and the new talent coming through. We had these workshops where we had a whole group of these young Hawaiians just wanting to be actors. But because of the state of the US and the way that Hawaii is treated, it's so hard for them to be able to break into the industry. And so rather than just learn the dialogue that was written for me, I took it upon myself to learn the language. So I learned how to speak Hawaiian. Yeah, I took it on. I said, nah, I'm not going to disrespect the character I'm playing, the culture I'm playing, by not giving their language the respect. So I started learning Hawaiian. And every day, I do this Duolingo. I got this Duolingo app where I'm like on a 500-day streak of I do a little bit of Hawaiian every day. I then put it out to the Hawaiian actors that were in the project I would just sit with them and just talk Hawaiian. And I didn't care if I got it wrong. That was my way of trying to build capacity, right? I then went around everywhere we went, and this is big sets, and I just said, I encouraged all the locals to speak their language. The same way I encourage all the locals when I'm here to speak their language. And I would like test my Hawaiian on them, and some of it would be real cringe, but they were like, wow, bruh, you like the language, bruh? And I was just like, bruh, I want you to speak to me in your language because and it made me feel more Hawaiian. I then went about trying to figure out whether I had any whakapapa lineage to some of the islands in Hawaii. And I found out that I come from a small offshoot of a place in Kauai. And so I was like, cool. Everything was about me going, if I'm going to play a Hawaiian, then I'm going to be as Hawaiian as I possibly can, because the best way to show respect to someone else's culture is to immerse yourself in it, to take it on. And I did it. I did it. And the true test was we had this public screening with 3 of the Hawaiian language schools, and these kids speak fluent Hawaiian. And some of their teachers were some of our teachers. And so we got up and watched some of the scenes. And those kids were blown away. And then we got up and started speaking. And I got up and I spoke in te reo. And they were like, oh, you're not Hawaiian, bro. And so that was the biggest compliment for me. But yeah, so to go back to kind of like, I'm also a big advocate for the right person should get the job. So when it comes to making, it's not the majority of the time, it's not enough just to be from that culture. Because when you're, again, go back to time, when you're shooting, when you're making something, you're on the clock. Every second costs money. And so if you've got too many inexperienced, not enough experience when you're shooting, man, your budget starts running out real fast. And if you don't make days, then everything gets pushed back, and then producers and then funders, everyone just starts coming for you like sharks. So it's a balancing act, right? And I think the casting, well, no, I don't think, I reckon the casting did really, really well to have a mix of inexperience and experience. Because one of the other notes that Jason said to me, he goes, you're not only here for your ability, but you're also here for your experience, your ability to be able to elevate somebody else's performance by being also from being a director, but also your experience to understand craft. And that's why we want you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay then. Okay then. Yeah. And again, like, I think the other thing people need to remember too, like, I'm talking like really positive around these sorts of things. But there is no doubt we will still get heat. We will still get heat. But you know what I say? When I say to people who, you know, all the trolls and all of those things, like, I'm terrible with social media, so I don't read shit. Like, I don't read anything. Like, I just share whatever I'm taking. I share, because I'm too busy trying to have a better relationship with my time. And so we will still get heat. And I welcome it. Like, I welcome it 100%. And like, The Convert is a prime example. Deadlands is a prime example. Our own, we got heat from our own. And I loved it. I loved it because I'm comfortable in my own skin, and because I'm able to speak my language. I can sit across from someone who's got beef with me, and as soon as they can't reply in our language, I don't pay any attention to it. Because if you can't speak Māori, who are you to judge a Māori? Who are you? Like, you got to be able to speak the language to be able to really come in hard on somebody. But if your opinion, like I say this all, this is another thing I've heard over my years. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. You know, everyone's got one. So unless it's a personal attack on me, I don't even listen to that. Like, if you're talking about the craft, I'm here all day. Oh, I love talking about craft. I love talking about the film, and I love the fact that people don't like stuff. And like, we don't live in a country of unicorns and everything's like, if we only made things to make people happy, we'd never make anything, bro. Yeah. We'd never make anything. It's similar to the podcast. Like, I can guarantee you fellas would probably get heaps of heat. But you don't make it to make people happy. You know, you make it because there's a necessity to be able to have a space to allow people like me to come here and be fear bots to the max.
See, he gets it. He smiles.
The secret sauce.
Oh man! So, you know, there's that old adage, like, all publicity is good publicity, and to a certain degree, yeah, it is. But if you're gonna, especially when it comes to something really specific like culture, I don't have any time for people who want to come at me about culture when they don't even speak their language. Yeah, and that's just my stance. That's not all Māoris. That's just this Māori stance. Come back and talk to me in our language, and then we can have a conversation. But until then, I got no interest in hearing what you got to say. Yeah.
Good perspective, man.
Well, because, you know, without the language, they've obviously missed all the nuance. Yeah. They've obviously missed all the little hooks and catches in the understanding of why the structure is the way it is. But also, on top of that, there's been some things I've made and I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? There's rubbish. Oh, wear the hoodie. Instagram holiday, Instagram holiday.
It's such an exciting time there for our stories to be told in.
Yeah, for all of us, like throughout Polynesia, like we got the likes of the also Jason, and you got the likes of the also Dwayne, but there's like, you know, and they want so much for their people, but we've got to want it as well.
Yeah.
You know, we can't just go, oh man, look how awesome they are. You're just as awesome. Like the average person is just as awesome. And like, if it's from envy, then you're just gonna be stuck in the same spot. But I think this is why Beulah and I get on so well, because we're so competitive and we love the grind. And we're silent about it. Like we grind in the shadows big time. Like you'll know when we're working on something because we're not on the chat as much because we're away. We're just putting in work, trying to balance out have our time with families and stuff like that. And then out of nowhere, you'll just see something go bam, and everyone like, "Oh, surely that's that where you've been." And I'm like, "Yep," but I'm already moving on to the next one. But thank you. And so we're not interested in being envious of those people. We're interested in standing and working with them because we're both huge believers where we're like, oh, they can't handle this heat. They can't handle this heat. And when I remember my very first day on Chief of War, we were in Hawaii at the time, and it was an argument scene between Jason and I. And we'd done all this other stuff beforehand, and we got to the scene, and we're standing shoulder to shoulder. And the whole time I'm like this, yeah, Jason, I'm about to bring it, brother. And action. What's my line? And he was just like looking at me, and then I was looking at him, and I was like, nah, never my line. I was just testing you, bro. Just testing you, bro. But he's an amazing human being. Like, first and foremost, he's an amazing human being. Like, honestly, he's like one of the boys. And I've learned so much of him. So much. We spend a lot of time talking about craft. And I said this to him the last time I saw him was, he's a better director than he is an actor. He is a better director than he is an actor. And he'll appreciate me saying that because as much as Jay has done so much, acting is, it's not something that comes naturally to him. But directing, oh my God, the man is seki. Yeah, he's awesome. So, and he's just awesome to hang out with. He's so funny. But anyway, name dropping guy. Oh, that's so ring him up now.
What a cool name to name drop.
You ring him up.
Stop. Yeah, bros. So yeah, he's that whole experience around culturally specific people playing, because we know what that looks like, right? We know when it's terrible, and even I know when it's terrible. Ooh. And it's over the years, it has been a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, because and this is going to shock you guys after talking about how Māori I am. In when I first graduated from drama school, in like the early stages of doing auditions and stuff, so the biggest feedback I would get back from some of the casting was that I wasn't Māori enough. Can you believe it? I know. Oh, he's just not Māori enough. And I instantly knew, wow, they only want the goofy, flat nose, inarticulate stereotype of my people. The one who's like feels like they're uneducated. The hoary. They're just looking for another hoary. And they used to drive me nuts. But that's pretty much what the state of the view on casting Māori characters was for a long time, real long time. To the point where I remember Nathaniel Lees, who's one of the OGs of our industry, he would get cast as in Māori roles. And then he took a stance. He said, I'm not playing. There's enough talent here now for Māoris to play Māoris. But prior to that, we just weren't getting cast. He was getting cast, and again, it wasn't because he looked more Māori. It's because his ability, he had reps. You know, he was good. He's amazing on screen. And I love that man. He taught me so much. But yeah, can you imagine? I just couldn't, even saying it out loud now, I'm like, oh. And for a long time, it made me question. I went, far out. Yeah. And it made me question like things like, especially when I was at drama school, like, because I didn't have anybody to, like, I wasn't seeing too many Māori on TV. Like, I grew up at that time where, like, the most popular Māori show in most Māori communities was bloody Crime Watch, you know? And so, and that was the only, and the news and stuff like that, but, and so, when I auditioned for drama school, I taught myself, I literally would go, I watch a movie and I go, oh, that looks like what they want me to do. So I would just copy and mimic from American actors, the way they did things. And I got into drama school. And the first thing I did, which is probably one of the biggest regrets I have, was I got into drama school and I went, I'm not going to be a Māori. I'm going to be the best PALAGI actor that I have in my mind, because I thought that's what I had to do. And my first year that I was in Toi, I kind of like severed. I stopped speaking Māori. I was like, I put on this crazy PALAGI voice like Batman. And then like I was just whitewashing myself. It was crazy. Like when I think about it now. But at the time, my grandfather, who I'm named after, my idol, I was in Wellington and he lived in Otaki. And we were really close. And I stopped going to see him. And at the time I thought, I gotta focus, just drama school, gotta be an actor. And then that stopped going to see him, and then towards the end of my first year, and I thought I was doing really, really well, he passed away. And I was devastated. And I still hadn't figured out that whenever he would kind of call me or stuff like that, I always made myself, would say, oh no, I'm too busy, koro. I've got to do this. And a part of me feels like severing all of the things that he helped build in me was part of the reason why he started to deteriorate, because his purpose for his mokopuna kind of disappeared. And I don't know if that's, but in my mind, that's how I imagine it to be. It's like when you stop watering a flower, and then like you see it and you go, oh, I'll get to that soon. Oh, I don't have time. Relationship time. And so he passed away. I went to the funeral, and I still hadn't clicked in my mind that I had severed all of that. And it wasn't until like my mum and them would talk to me in Māori, and like I would just respond back in English. Time passed, and I still hadn't clicked that that's what I had done. And so at the end of that year, I didn't want to go back to drama school because I was too broken. But not because I tried to be the best Pākehā actor in my mind. And I carried that for years. I did end up going back to Toi and finishing. And then little parts of me would be in competition or conflict with my culture for years, bro, like years. And then one day, and then when I had my son, my eldest boy, everything's when I was, I messed up. Because that whole thing of going, hand it over, hand the language over, came back to me. And then everything just went, spiraled back to me. Oh, I did this, I stuffed up, I cut that, stopped doing this. My grandfather passed away, and that's why I'm a mess right now. I got a baby. And my eldest boy, Phoenix, then became the catalyst for me to rebuild all of those things for myself. And just not openly, just on my own. Just brick by brick, word by word, experience by experience. Just keep building. All the while trying to build a career and all of these things, be a dad and all of these things. But that severing of the tie of my connection to me being a Māori, and then going through the process over the years, even to now, has just made me not ever want any of my kids to do that, no matter what the career path. And it goes back to the whole thing of, it's crazy when we think about when we want to do, and I see it in young actors now, right? And when they're early on, you get them to read something and like they put on a voice, and it automatically makes me go, oh, they are thinking of the white actress that's in their mind, because all the films they've watched, the leads are white. All the action movies they love, the leads are white. So I go, cool. Now I go, I need to give little brown Polynesian and Māori kids films, television shows where they can see themselves, so that when they are asked to read something, they use their own voice, not the made-up Batman voice that they had in their head. Yeah, so it's trying to, balance the scales as far as what our kids watch, and giving them that opportunity to enjoy the marvels. So that's the beauty of having the likes of Dwayne. That's the beauty of the likes of having someone like Jason, because they see themselves in people like that. Roman Reigns, when I was growing up, the only brown people genuinely that I saw were in the WWF.
That's good times.
Yeah. They're the first actors I saw. So, yeah, I think we've come full circle a little bit in our conversation, but because, that just hit me right now. I was just thinking, I'm talking about all of this stuff, but it wasn't always like that for me. To go from a community where it was only a language, and to have the dumbest idea in my head that I can't be a good actor if I gotta be white. And I convinced myself that I gotta be white. And it wasn't like, oh, bro, I'm gonna be white. I'm gonna be a white actor. In my mind, I was just like, nah. All the big actors are white, so I'm just gonna do my best white acting. And just the regret. Even now, I regret it, but I won't let it stop me. I take the regret. I own the regret. I sit with the regret, but it won't. I've stopped using it to break me. You know what I mean? To stop breaking me. So when I used to get feedback like, oh, he's just not Māori enough, I instantly think about that decision I made to be white, to be a white actor. All right, I'm gonna be a white actor. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise, too short. Yeah. So I always go back to that moment, and it always reminds. When it was happening, it would remind me of the passing of my grandfather, and I'd just go a little bit like this, a little bit, and then I'd unwind myself. I'm like, no. And so, yeah, the bravery and stuff to be able to, I don't know if you can call it bravery, maybe it's stupidity, because I never asked for help that whole time. I was so regretful and ashamed that I made that decision. Nobody knows this. This is the first time. This is the first time I've ever shared this. That I made that decision. That I instantly went, you made the bed, you sleep in it, mate, and fix it yourself. Fix it yourself. And so, yeah, I went about it, and to have my son as the catalyst to go, to go, just hand it over, hand the language over. That was it. I was like, I can't give you. And that's why I think my son's relationship and his bravery with speaking the reo is kind of still building, because I was still building during his formative years. Yeah, along with a whole lot of other rafter stuff that's not shouldn't be mentioned. But yeah, anyway, that's for the biopic.
Bro, honestly, thank you so much. That was so powerful. Like, it just shows the journey and how important culture, the language, and just this. It's everyone's story in terms of finding their identity and then misplacing it sometimes because of what we see and what's out there, and then you start questioning your own identity. And that's a powerful story, because you're in a time now that you're being able to pioneer industry where it's normal to be this Māori's this and this, you know, and we're you know, you're being able to be a part of this generation where we can look on the screen now and go, that's me.
Yeah.
And so when someone else questions you, you're not Māori enough, go, no. You just have a warped idea of what Māori is. And so thank you, brother. Like, you imagine a generation that's going through that tension right now, and the vulnerability you're able to share, and it just encourages us to go deep in our own languages. And honestly, I honor you for that. And there's a whole generation of our brothers now, and that's why I'm excited for this, because there's so many stories untold. There's so much talent from our people, and from the untapped potential as well, that we're gonna start hearing our stories. We're gonna and we get to tell it our way. You know,
that's it. And that's for us, by us.
Yes,
for us, by us. And to be the first thought in the creation process, not the last thought, so that you can tick the box for the funders. Oh, we need a Māori. Okay, you want to know any Māoris? Because that used to be what I used to see in the attitudes, right? Like, as the years have gone on, the acceptance, and it's moved into like TVNZ. There's a level of treaty partnership, tangata tiriti, tangata whenua, within the operations of the building and in TVNZ. So when you make films now, like, you had to have some cultural advisor, and I used to just get on my wick when I used to just rock on up to a gig, and I'd be like, and you see this kaumātua sitting on a chair by themselves, nobody looking after them, and they're the cultural advisor. But the whole thing of cultural advisor, you're only there to advise, right? You don't actually have any power. And so moving forward from that point, and that used to like annoy me, so I would like literally get myself into trouble, because I would spend all my time going, oh, you want a cup of tea, and like get the boys to bring over a little easy up, and like, oh, you want to have a monitor so you can see what they're saying, make sure it's all good, and all of these things, like giving them the respect for the role that they play within it. And that was just me doing it off my own back. And this goes back to why I was just like, man, producers just do my bloody head in. And so I always have those memories now from an acting perspective from those gigs, to make sure I never do that. Because you never treat your old people like that. You never treat your old people like that, because they're the people who hold all the knowledge, right? And so they're there to do a job. And so now when I move in these spaces, I will not be a cultural advisor. I'm a producer, because in the game, producer gets a say. You get a say. So from a cultural perspective, if I need to look after anything, culturally, I need it to be so that I'm one of the producers, so that I can make sure that change happens, and it happens properly.
Jeez.
Come in. So, and that's a new thing. And that's
so good.
and it's been a long time coming. Been a long time coming to really push for that, because certain production companies will just still try to play that, get the cultural advisor who runs the karakia in the morning, and well, what do you think about this? Oh, that's good. Okay, take that once. Carry on and still make it so it looks bloody ki-o. And I encourage across to like our Polynesian production companies to do the same. Like if your job is to hold anything to do with that culture and engagement, you're a producer. You're not an advisor. You're not an advisor. Yeah, cultural advisors are that's just a loophole for saving money and not getting and just ticking a box. So now now it's at the level where if you're making anything with cultural content, especially with the language, it's got to be at a certain percentage. And there's all these strict rules around it, which is good. And I think it's good because it holds not only big production companies who lack cultural engagement, but it also keeps us accountable as well. Because, we can get a little bit sweet ass sometimes. And like, no, we'll be all good. We'll be all good. We're not all good. The drawdown didn't come. What's missing? So it's a bit about accountability, right? And it goes back again to sharing, just to sharing. Like, I hold you accountable for making my story by honoring my language, by making sure that it's 30% of the film. As the producer, it needs to be 30%. These are the people that I need in this position for it to happen. Not, well, I think we might, and for everybody else's language shows as well. So I don't want to be the only one who brings my own people up. I want to bring all of us up. Yeah. Polynesians, all of us. I'm like, that's always been my goal, is to like tell my stories, but help to tell everybody else's stories. And going back to what I said before, I'm happy to be led. I'm happy to go, the story is set in Samoa, it's about these people, cool. Well, this is what I can help with, but you just tell me what you want me to do. Like if it's to do with these things, anything to do with the culture, I'm happy just to come and sit in the back pew while you do your thing, bruh. Or you do your thing, sis. I'm not here to tell you how to tell your stories. I'm just here to try and help you maybe get the funding, or maybe get that location, or you want to shoot out down in Christchurch. Okay, we'll engage with the iwi. We'll let them know that you fellas are making something. Like help to build without trying to take it over. Yeah.
What a beautiful conversation it is, man. And I love that organically it's kind of come full circle. And there are definitely some common themes in terms of that have come through the conversation. Definitely given, at least for me personally, like lots to reflect on, because I think, and I imagine for a lot of our audience as well, like we can resonate with a lot of the things that have been discussed today, and also in our own way. So I'm just really grateful for, honestly, your talanoa, your convo, and just being so upfront about it and being so authentic about it. I love it.
Oh, thank you, bro. Honestly, I'm still buzzing out that I'm doing this with you fellas right now.
Oh, we need a part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2. Hard out.
I think we need a cultural advisor on this one.
Hey man, we got Matua Tika here, man. Beat that Matua Mark.
The most famous guy in Gizzy, we got him here.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man! Also, it is what a conversation. Just listening. I think more than anything, it was just being able to listen and just to soak in your knowledge and your wisdom, and just it's been nuggets after nuggets also, and just obviously we haven't asked many questions, but because it's the kōrero and what you're sharing has just been so rich, so rich in terms of the culture. And also, I think, and thank you, like Charles was saying, thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable with the Usos. about, you know, in terms of identity and also with your grandfather.
Yeah.
But I think even more so also, and you probably wouldn't even know this, or you probably have people come up to you. You probably have saved a lot of young budding Polynesian Māori actors who probably had contemplating the same thing. Oh, I need to act. I can't be a Māori. I can't be someone. I need to act. I need to act like a palangi. And you probably saved them a lot of heartache and a lot of tears.
Yeah.
And to just, hey, embrace the culture.
Yeah.
Accept me for who I am. And so also what you have to share tonight was powerful, man.
I'll tell you this funny story. This is such a Brown thing to do after after Peter's just really acknowledging all of these things. And you probably saved all these young Polynesians' lives. So and now you're gonna ruin it.
Corrupted a few too.
I'm gonna tell the story. So I was working with Nathaniel, and we were working on a solo show at the time. And the solo show was called Michael James Manaia. It's about a Vietnam veteran. Anyway, we're at the drama school, and I had graduated. I'd been out for years, and it was the first time I had been back to Toi, and I don't know how long. Anyway, I'm down in the basement, like going for it, like crazy, doing all of this work. And Nathaniel was one of the acting tutors at the school at the time, and I didn't know the shape of the school or anything like this. And anyway, he goes, Te Kohe, I would like you to come and speak to the first years of Toi Whakaari. And I was like, hey, are you sure? And he goes, yes, they need to know what it's really like. And I go, okay, cool. And I go in, and everyone's like, oh, the age had changed, so they were taking them quite young. So when I was at Toi, you had to be 20 in your first year. So you had a little bit of life experience, right? And so years had passed, and they were just taking them out of high school. Like these were kids who were like getting their mum to ring up to the drama school to say they were sick so they could have the day off. Anyway, and I was like, okay, I'll come in, I'll talk to them, and I'll arrive. And they're all bright-eyed like this, and they've got their pad, no offense, they got their pen and paper, and they're like this. And like actors, drama school people, they put on this face like, and I'm sitting here like this, and I'm like, cool. Kia ora everyone, my name's Te Kohe, and Nathaniel asked me to come and speak to you guys today. So I'm going to start like this. If you don't think you're an actor and you're not here to build your craft, I think you should just get out. I think you should just make way for somebody else who you're taking their space. Because if you don't 100% agree with the fact that you're here to be an actor, then you're just wasting everybody's time, and you should just move along so the person who really wants to be here can be here. And that's all I have to say. And the next day, Nathaniel comes down and he goes, I said, and we were rehearsing, and he goes, good, Te Kohe. And I said, what's that? And he goes, 3 of them left. Because when I was at Toi, bros, it was competitive, like super competitive. You had to, like, it was dog eat dog. We were trying to out-act each other. Like, we were trying to go for it. And sometimes we would muck it up, but there's this soft underbelly that can sometimes be given to artists who don't have to grind, you know. Sometimes people are just fortunate, but sometimes people are just like, you gotta grind, and you gotta know that you got a job to do. And if you're and like, I say this to young actors as well, if I ever see you in an audition room, just remember, my job is to take the job away from you. So come with your A game. Don't disrespect my craft. Don't disrespect the people who are in that room by just thinking you're gonna get it, because my job is to take it away from you. And so everyone's like this. And then when I see some of me, I'll go into an audition room and I'm like this, kia ora. And that's just because I love what I do, right? And the best way I can respect what I do and respect somebody else is to come prepared. Always come prepared. Come with the fire, as me and Biola would say, come with the fire. And so I do agree that I would definitely have saved a lot of heartache for a lot of people just trying to be something, the Batman that exists in their heads. But also remember that when we come to telling people's stories, or when you're in working with professionals, there is an etiquette that is required to be able to foot it with the best. And if you're coming half-assed and I'm working with you, I'm the first person to pull you up about it. Yeah, I'm the first person. And I've got a little bit of a reputation of being that guy, like literally standing across from someone and I can see that they haven't done any work. And I'm like this, bro, you got 5 minutes to get your shit together. Otherwise, we're not doing this. And because if you don't respect yourself enough to be able to put in the work, that means you don't respect me enough to show up and do the work. And, you know, I'm on time. I'm on time because I want to do my mahi so that I can go home to my kids and my wife, you know. And it's all about family for me, you know, trying to have a better relationship with time. And what's the best way? To be more efficient in everything that I do so that I can be more efficient with my family.
I know,
Yeah.
Oh, what a guy. My guy, man.
Everyone's going to be like,
Nah, man. Honestly, I've been so blessed just to have this talanoa and listening to the korero. And, you know, I haven't met your grandfather. But I can just imagine that a lot of the wisdom that he's that's come from you, you can tell it's been passed on. And you know, you're not much older than us, but there's this wisdom and this mana that comes from every word that you say. Like there's intent, it's purposeful, it's not wasted. And so I look forward to this episode going out because I can only imagine that whoever listens, they can feel that mana, that wairua, and so I'm so blessed to have you on this table with us, brothers, and we can just, as we always say to all our guests, like we're cheering you on from our spot here, South Auckland. We like every guest we meet, it's almost we take on their journey. We're like, man, let's see what's next, and and that's always us. And I can't wait to watch The Convert and then everything else that comes after. And so, just from us, and especially from me, it's just real. Just thank you also, because now I'm gonna go home. Okay, I'm gonna go learn my. But yeah, thank you, Uso.
Nah, thank you guys.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, man, thank you so much, Uso.
Oh, man, I was gonna ask you about the monkey comment. What do you think about Spencer and the whole Israel man thing? But I
think, to be honest, I think the bro, I'm calling him the bro, I think Spencer's, I think he come out too hot.
Heat of the moment, eh?
Yeah, he come out too hot, and I think he knew, because he's the new guy at the Roosters, he just came out with too much of a chip on his shoulder. Am I offended by what he said? Not, but I can understand how, and with Ezra and all of those poly boys who like have been in Australia for a long time, how that can be. Yeah. Do I think he should be reprimanded from it, by it, or for doing it, for saying it? Because you can't tell me he didn't say it. Like, 100% believe he said it. Because if he didn't say it, like if we didn't say something, we would see it. We would have said, I didn't say that. Yeah. But he hasn't come out to say that. But I think the bro just got too much pre-workout or whatever. It just came out too G'd up. Yeah, too G'd up. And then, because you could tell he was playing as if he had a point to prove, right? He had a point to prove. Because he's in the big-ass shadow of Hargreaves. And that's a big personality as well, who won't take a backward step. So I think he was just trying to be a little bit Hargreaves and just.
The next enforcer. He was to be the next enforcer.
Teachable moment, but also like, something massive happened in Las Vegas in terms of the promotion of the game, and the biggest news is this.
Yeah.
And it's they should do their thing in terms of how it should be
Go through the system, right?
But the attention, it's like
Took away
from the game,
away.
and then it's almost like, oh yeah, let's let these Islanders fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, anyway. But I love what you said, and I'm gonna start calling my wife, man. My pet name for her. I'm gonna get in trouble. Shucks.
We are gathered here today to mourn the death of Charles.
And it's triangle undies.
Man, I'm sure pre-settlers it was triangle undies.
Bro, I don't wear them at all. I haven't since I was a kid. I've never worn them. I hated them.
Undies at all.
Undies at
At
all?
all.
Yeah, I can't handle it, eh?
Jacks, I want to go gym.
And this is going to sound real. And you know, anytime anyone asks me they go, about undies and stuff, I say, no, I don't wear those things. And they're like, why? And I said, because I don't like things colonizing my. No. That's what I say. I don't like things colonizing my nuts. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I've never worn them. Much to my wife's disgust. She's like, you've got to wear them. And I was like, no.
That's right, man. Hang loose Hawaii, man.
Yeah. It's my spare rudder during my journeys over there.
Brother. Oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much, Uso. It's just been an awesome evening, awesome learning. I think it's more so, if anything, learning, just the knowledge that's just been imparted tonight. Awesome, man. Just a real privilege once again. Thank you so much, man.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I feel like when we do these episodes where it's just us, no more talking about the treaty.
Bro.
We need an advisor, a producer. Next time we have a conversation, we've got a producer.
Lucky we said that. We need someone who's well versed.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit about it, and a lot of the stuff that I've learned. Just a lot of it comes from my grandfather, my own little research. I couldn't talk about the intricacies of the treaty, but I can definitely I speak to it from my perspective as a Māori who feels the effects of having something so that is not a founding document of our country, but it is the basis of the early relationships that are currently in question. They're currently in question of the disestablishment of it. No matter how much the government try to spin it, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to get rid of it. So, and it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen on our watch. That's for sure.
You can be honest, TK, when you watch the episode on that for the people, they're going to guarantee you, hey, babe, look at these 8 guys. 8 guys, nothing of these. Shut your mouth, Maldies. Shut your mouth.
No, I just love people who are just brave enough to have the conversations and just to admit that, man, I don't know jack about it. And because the reason why we don't know anything about it is because it's not taught. It's not taught. Like, it was never taught. When I was at school, like, I almost got kicked out of school because I refused to learn about the French Revolution. I was like, I'm not French. Like, I want to learn about my own history. Well, we haven't got there, Mr. Tuhaka. Well, we better get there then, eh? Yeah, so I didn't want to learn about. I was just like, when are we going to learn about like the Māori land wars and Ruapekapeka and like all of these things that I had been told by my grandfather? All these stories about early colonization and the relationships and all of that. But other than that, I was just like, the French who? The what? Yeah, so because we got enough of our own history. Why do we teach our history first? Yeah. That gives us an opportunity to then better appreciate everybody else's. Yeah. Everybody else's, because then you can come at it from a point of, it's similar, it's different, and this happened. But everybody everywhere has a history of colonization. Everybody everywhere has a history of colonization. We're just here in Aotearoa. We're just at a different point where we're really young as a country. Our history, we're only hundreds of years old. And you think of the Europes of the world and other countries, the US, that's thousands of years old. You go into the Native Americans, so but we're fighters. We're fighters, and I know this. We really feel the support from our Polynesian brothers and sisters when it comes to the Te tiriti, and really trying to honour that. And I know there is a massive thought to and being very inclusive with our Polynesian communities, because we do know that it will help everybody. But all of our histories are intertwined, especially here in Aotearoa. So yeah.
Can't wait for part 2, guys.
Hard.
Man, these
But
North Shore
actually-
boys are bringing the hate, man.
These North Shore boys, man.
Please,
Jeez.
come on,
These brothers,
the
man.
Westies, where you at?
Oh man, Jay, did you want to ask some more questions or?
He's taking notes.
Yeah, actual, just lots of learning. Just some of the things that have stood out.
Because James, you're a teacher, eh?
Yeah, I'm a
Bro,
teacher.
I
Yeah.
envy teachers, bro, because like my mum's a teacher, my sisters are teachers. Silly, I don't even know how you do it, mate, because I do not have the patience. Like, I barely have the patience for my own kids. But like, I think that teachers should be some of the highest paid people in the world, bro. In the world. Like, if you look at, I look at it like this. Wow, I have my kids from like 3 to 7 the next morning, but then their lives are influenced, grown, and put on a path by the teachers that we drop them off to. And I have huge respect for teachers, because it's not an easy job to have to deal with all those multiple different young minds who are coming from such different households. And the work that you guys have to put in outside of my bro, I just take my hat off to teachers, like teachers everywhere, but it doesn't matter what level. This is like, wow, that is like, I used to watch my mom, I used to watch my sisters. I was just like, the level of like almost patience, having fitness, but with patience. You're so patient. Your patience is so fit. And I'm just like, bro, because I think some of the teachers that I had, really changed me. I could have easily been in the mob, bro. Straight up, easily been in the mob. But I had great teachers. I had great teachers who just could have easily just brushed me to the side. But they really just put in the time, and they were so patient with me. So that, yeah, bro, good on you, cuz. Good on you. I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it at all. And I'm happy, and I'm happy there are people like you who do it. Like, do it. Not just like kind of do it. Like, you do it, bro.
That's awesome. Hey, that means a lot to me, man. As a teacher.
Do it.
Teaching it's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely one of the hardest things outside of being a father and a husband that I've ever had to do. And, like you were saying, like, I'm not naturally a patient person. Like, people that know me know I'm pretty short-tempered.
Yeah.
But something about teaching, like, it just extends that patience, and it humbles you a lot, because I think for a lot of us who are teachers, we're teachers for two reasons. We either slipped through the cracks and we struggled and no one looked out for us, and we don't ever want a kid to ever feel like they're being left behind, or we had great teachers and those teachers stick with us forever. Those lessons, the way they taught us to be, that sticks with us. They form such a fundamental part of our personality. So I love that you said that, because I had great teachers.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it's my duty to pass on some of the things that I learned, some of the things that I enjoyed, give that joy back to the upcoming generation. Yeah. And one of the things I've learned from the greatest teacher that I've ever had is like teaching. You know, you're an administrator, you're a counselor, you're all these different things, but at the end of the day, the secret to teaching is love.
Yeah.
Love the kids, love them, and everything else will fall into place.
I look at my kids like, hey, love your teacher. Hey, you want me to love you? You love the teacher. I don't want to hear anything about you doing anything at school.
They're like, is your teacher pretty?
I'm coming to school today to talk to the teacher. She specifically asked for me to come. Don't tell your mother.
Crack up. Oh, man.
Big
Yeah.
ups, bro.
No, I love it. And I think, you know, even more so, I think as a male teacher, like, there's so many kids out there, like, that I can just tell that having a male role model just means the world to them. And if you can just be a small part of this season of their life, like, I can't wait to see what they're going to go on and do. Like, and I think that's the most rewarding thing is that you may not see the benefits of it right now, but they're just kids that you're like, man, you're going to be so amazing when you get older. And just to have the privilege to share this time, to pass on one little nugget or one treasure, a taonga, something that I treasure, if that sticks with you, then man, what a fulfilling job. Like you can die happy knowing you've given everything you've had. And it's funny because some of what you were saying just made me think about teaching. Like, you know, you mentioned small town values fixing big city problems, and it just inspired a thought about, like, there's something about being in the city where, you know, it's the standard or the norm or the trend where we tend to kind of follow each other, and it almost feels like we're chasing our tails a bit. And obviously I wasn't raised in a small town, but just hearing from your experience, I'm like, man, that sounds like such an amazing upbringing to be able to think differently and not be bound or constrained by what's expected. In big cities. And so it's funny, this quote I got from a friend who had mentioned, one of the writers on Chief of War had talked about like, I don't feel like I'm a cultural storyteller. And one of the co-creators, Thomas Pa'a, had mentioned that culturally speaking, our traditional forms of storytelling is in everything we do, our music, our dance, even down to the way we interact with our aunties. And hearing that, and then seeing a quote where you mentioned that culture is who I am, it's my foundation, it is my superpower, I am it is me. And I just thought, what fitting words to think of at the closing of our conversation, that, you know, everything you've highlighted from leadership, time, history, relationships, vulnerability, just a beautiful thing to embrace our own secret superpowers. And sometimes, you know, it takes conversations, it takes sitting around with the boys to unlock, you know, that secret superpower within us. And now it's like, cool, now that we are aware, we have this responsibility now to learn it so we can pass it on. So we can
hand it over, bro.
Hand it over.
Hand it over.
So
no, your
I loved
jersey.
it.
Can I have your jersey? Hand it over. The jersey, you know, that's in the back of the wardrobe.
The ones you can't fit anymore.
But you're still holding on to it for the glory days. You pull it out every New Year's and say, this is the New Year's resolution.
Bro, have you seen my wardrobe?
Oh, snap. Oh,
so good.
Oh, man. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, bro. Thank you. That's, beautiful, beautiful brothers. Like, honestly, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you fellas, and I would love to come back for a party. Let's go for a party. It'd be awesome.
Also, man, we always leave a gift for our guest. And so... Oh, yeah, shot.
What was that thing?
So also, we always do a bit of a caricature cartoon of our guest and how we envision them to be. And so on behalf of Brad, Jay, Charles and myself, this is for you, Uzo. It's for you. And this is for you to celebrate the convert, the premiere of the movie, Uzo. Man, thank you so much, Us. Thank you. We appreciate your time. But also, is anyone that you could, I don't know, think that would be ideal to come or perfect to come on the podcast, have a korero with us?
There's a very close uso of mine who was also a massive acting inspiration of mine, and he's Southside hard, and it's Xavier Horan. X and I have known each other for a long time. We've worked on many things together. He was in the market. He lives here in Pep, Wallace Road, and he's also a touch rep, New Zealand touch rep. Played for counties, played for Harbour, and me, him, and Beulah are really close. But I think he'd be awesome to have on here. Xavier Horan, and the other person I thought was my day one. The reason why I'm a plastic Māori is Semu Filippo. Yeah, he's another actor who's got an amazing story. Just a little insight on that. He was a guy who had a Brumbies Super Rugby contract and gave it all up. Went to drama school, was in the New Zealand choir, was captain of John Paul First 15, like an amazing prop, but just captain inspirational, mate. And he's kind of in the mold and of the Dave Farnes of the world, and but honestly, as an actor, craftsman, whoo, yeah, absolutely fire. So those two men, I reckon, would be awesome. Especially, and my brother my brother Xavier. So yeah, that's those two. And then you get the full circle of all of us poly boys who have been in the industry for a long time, and we've all kind of gravitated towards each other. And you have boys and you say, you measure it on who's got backs. And these are the boys that I know got backs. Yeah, have always had my back and always will. So, but this is, bro.
Oh, man, thank you.
Yeah, craft, like this art and stuff like that, yeah. It makes me really emotional because, you can see the time taken that you took to, thank you, boys.
Oh, man, thanks, Oos.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, man, we leave you with the last words also, last words of encouragement for the viewers and the listeners also.
I think probably scared enough people. Scared enough people. But what I would like to do is close with karakia. Yeah. So, okay, ino e tatai. Unuhia i te uru tapu nui kia wātea kia māma. Te ngākau, te wairua, te hinengaro me te tinana ki te ara takatu. Ko iara e rongo whakairiha kia ki runga kia teina, haumi e hui. Tai ki e. Shop brothers.
Man, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We look forward to your well-thought-out comments. And as usual, brothers,
refine,
unlock, and take charge.
And if you don't like and don't comment, and I'm the producer of your next gig, I'm going to ask you. And if you haven't, mate, further down the picking order.
Landing.